Good afternoon, YouTube. Here we are, another week, another patch. Just gonna turn it down a tiny bit. Pretty extensive patch here. I saw that Sickozell have released this new module here, the Random Loops 8. There's also a single voice version of it, rather than an 8-track version of it. But I went with the 8-track because you can get a lot out of it. Let's turn it down a little bit more. So what it essentially does, using a Turing method, I believe, is it basically creates random loops. Random melodies, random modulations, random trigs. It's kind of just a random module, as the name might suggest. But I sort of wanted to use it just to sort of play around with it, see what it's like. And I ended up building this patch. Sickozell also just released this Trig Sequencer 8. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an 8-track trigger sequencer. So I thought I'd use that as well and just build something. And this is what I built. So why don't we just deconstruct it a little bit. I'll just do these two voices at the front here. Let's turn it up a bit. So basically this entire half here, or at least from like here down to about here, this little bit down here is a pad. But I used the random looper to get this ever-evolving generative sequence. Got 4 pony VCOs here from Bufako, and another 4 over here, also from Bufako, of course. And I'm using Percol on both of these sets of 4 because it just matches up. You got 4 one side, you got 4 inputs, 4 attack decay envelopes, etc. And yeah, I just wanted to make something that's kind of generative. I actually didn't really go into it with an idea, I just want to make something that's generative. I just started playing around with it and that's kind of what I had. But of course, the random looper, or the Random Loops 8, that's kind of what it's for. That's what it does, is it creates ever-evolving generative sequences. So that's what I'm doing here. My dog just came in the room. He wants to go for a walk. Don't you? Yeah. Anyway, so anyway, that's this sequence. These Percols then go out into these little bandit modules, which are spectral modules. What does it say on the description of these? Bandit is a spectral processing playground, which, I would probably agree with that. It's pretty limited spectral, but I think that's plenty. I was toying around with the one from Hora, which is a really extensive spectral processor, but I found it was kind of annoying to work with. Didn't really do what I wanted it to do. Maybe I was using it in the wrong scenario, but I felt like these bandits really gave me what I wanted. So we got the 4 outputs. On these pony VCOs as well, they're all set to a different waveform, and they're all set to a different octave. So if I just solo this first one, it's very bassy compared to the other one. I really love the way this kind of just undulating melody just kind of flows out of it. And that's going into a Joris from Volt, and then into a Debriatus from Volt. I noticed that Volt just updated their modules, and I no longer have access to the free ones, which I assume that they did that to make it so it wasn't so confusing and annoying to use them if you've purchased them. And I assume what that means is if I use this version, which is the only version I have access to now, in this patch, but then somebody with the free version of it opens it, these would just load up as the free version? I don't know, but that's what I'm assuming is happening. Just a little side note there. And yeah, so the debritus is then just going out into the mixer. Whereas the second part here is a little bit more sparse. It's going into its own bandit. Got a similar setup here, but it's sort of reversed. Not that it really matters. And it's going into this chorus from VCV and into another debritus. I'm driving the debritus a little bit harder on this one. And then it's going to this debiz filter, which I am modulating with Deviant here from Moffensief, which I looked at last week. In my video last week, Moffensief new collection. This Deviant is basically a dual channel sample and hold. It's pretty sick. Quite like it. I just like sample and holds. Anyway, so it's much more in the background, this one, and I've got a fair bit of reverb on it as well. Whereas the other one has like more delay. A little bit of reverb, but more delay. So I just like the way they work together. They just kind of like flow in and out of each other. And I've also got over here this pad, which is just this line down here. I should also mention that I'm using another random looper, or Random Loops 8, to modulate the bandit. The low mid, high mid, and high on each of these bandits. And that's what's giving us sort of more variation on the timbre of the sound. I really love this sound. And this pad is pretty simple. It's just this XFX wave. I've got another Random Loops 8, which is giving us, the first 4 channels are giving us a chord going into merge and then a quantizer. And then these other few channels down here are modulating a fold. What is that one? Phase distortion and ring modulation. And they're going into a slap, or that's going into a slap, which is an envelope, and then out into the XFX F35 filter, which also has an envelope on it, courtesy of Bog Audio. And yeah, that's it really. It's got some reverb on it, of course. Cannot avoid having reverb on a pad. It's just the way I roll. I've got 3 reverbs on it actually. Plateau, Realities, and Galaxy. My favorite reverbs in VCV, I would say. So that's the melodies and the sort of harmonic content of the let's just mute these, of this patch. And then over here I have a drum set, you might say, which is driven by Trigseek 8. I might just unhook Trummer for a sec so we can see what we're doing here. So I've got, I don't know how to pronounce that, Apices and Mortis here, giving us drum generator, digi drums, random drum, and cymbal, which is pretty cool. And then they're all going to Sifter, which is here, from Path Set. Really love the Path Set granular modules. I've looked at them before, but I should do another video on them, revisiting them really, because they're just that spectacular. Modulating a lot of the granular elements, courtesy again of Random Loops 8. And yeah, it's just cool. It's just a cool little glitchy rhythm. I've also got ADDR sequences with some slew, modulating the buffer length and the buffer start. You may have also noticed I'm modulating some of Trummer Trummer 2, I should say, again with a few tracks from Random Loops 8. Let's bring the trummer back in. I've got that going into the side chain on the pressed duck. I'm modulating the decay and the time on the bend. That's going into debriatus, and I'm also sending it into an EQS from Borg Audio to just shave off some lows, and then into a reverb, and then into its own track, which is what this is. I'm also modulating the morph on the reverb, again with Random Loops 8. And then finally over here, I'm sending the output of the sifter into an EQS to shave off the lows, boost the highs and the mids, and then go into a res comb, and then into a chorus, which is then going into this separate track. I'm also pitching the tuning of the res comb with another track on the Random Loops 8, and it's being quantized, and yeah, going into here. I'll just demonstrate really quick, because I've got the scale down a bit, but if I bring the scale up, you can hear what it's doing a bit more. It's pretty wide pitch range there. I kind of liked it a bit more subtle, so kept it here. And yeah, this is what we end up with. Let's bring that down slightly, maybe. But it's a pretty glitchy beat. And yeah, that's pretty much the patch. Just unmute these. As always, well, maybe not always, but I'm using some compression here up on the output of the mixer. Quite like the VCV compressor, especially when you drive it pretty hard, which I'll look at in a sec. But that's the patch. That's probably going to do this video. Let's just toy with the compression just a touch, just so we can see how hard we can push it. I'll just bring the volume up a bit. You can really push it hard. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week. Please like and subscribe, as I always say. Let me know what you think. Comment, give me some feedback, give me some suggestions. Always open to suggestions on things to do videos about. You may have noticed as well, I've started another video series focusing on making beats on the machine drum, which is just over there. And yeah, like, it's a fun video series if you enjoy watching somebody make beats and explore the sound design possibilities of the machine drum. At the end of that video series, probably at about the maybe 10th or 12th video, I will make a sample pack with all the beats from that video series. So, that's going to do it for this week. I'm just going to let this patch play it out, and I'll see you next time. Bye.